What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley. We back again today. Second live stream 2 days in a row, man. We giving you a treat, man. Come on, you gotta show love. You gotta show love, man. I'm working overtime. This is overtime for me, man. So we're gonna get into it today. I got my man Kurtson back. I represent Baltimore Fanatic, man. So I need him to talk me off the ledge today because I'm ready to print up these free t-shirts. Hey, and if you didn't notice, Kurt, if you look at our accents at the bottom, you see that's Baltimore purple. So
I appreciate that. I respect the gangster. Here, matter of fact, I'm gonna do one thing. We're gonna have a proper conversation. Let me get something for you real quick. Hold on. We're gonna have a proper conversation. Since we're talking about Free and Lamar, we're gonna have a proper conversation. It's two of them. We're gonna have a proper conversation about Free. We're gonna put Lamar in. We're gonna get how we get Lamar into the picture. How do we get him to? I don't want the light to hit him just right, but yeah, we're gonna have Lamar here with this conversation. Let me see if I can get this to pan down to Lamar, but I can't do it. But we got Lamar. Just know Lamar is here in spirit and truth right now.
Lamar is here.
I got the MVP here, but so let me talk you down off the ledge real quick. And
yes, please do.
So mind you that you got your Rudy Poop fans who really don't follow a team or subscribe to a team, and some people will. They talk football, but they base theirs off of not having the look. They look from the fan look and not like a general manager's look. So Sammy Watkins is not brought in to be the number one receiver. Let me clear up any notion that was the case. Right. And I can give them the definitive proof of that. Like under no circumstances was Sammy Watkins brought in to be the X receiver, the guy, right?
Yeah. He
was brought in because of his knowledge of the new passing system that is being installed by T. Martin and the other coach.
Okay.
So I went back and forth with this with some other
Tennessee T. Martin.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I went back and forth with this with another friend of mine, right? And we started talking about the different moves, and I said the most important move the Ravens made was to bring in the two new coaches. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are like, oh, that's the difference between like people who just look at what the shock and awe stuff, but they don't look at the real moves. Like you'll see players on teams that are not properly developed and aren't given the ability to properly develop. And then when they get to another team, they blow the hell up because it was just a better situation for them because the coaching is better. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example of that. When Adalius Thomas played for the Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
He played at such a high capacity that he signed a $96 million deal with the Patriots.
I remember.
Right? Different scheme, different coaches, different level of production. And some people will be like, oh, but Bill Belichick's the GOAT. He is. I'll take anything from Bill Belichick. He is the GOAT.
Right.
But you have to be able to coach the best out of a player. I heard a podcast the other day with Rex Ryan on it. And they were talking to Rex Ryan about his tenure with the Baltimore Ravens. And Rex said, the one thing that I can appreciate about Brian Billick, who was then the coach, he allowed us to do the best for every player. Like we had a player who, instead of trying to fit him into this square peg, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to fit the square peg into the round hole, we allowed that player. You do rushing, okay? You rush best. Well, let's put you in positions where you can rush, right? And then that's what coaching does for a player. When you can coach somebody up, you get more out of them. And a lot of times when they leave that structure and then that coaching system, you'll either see the numbers drop, or if they get to a better coaching system where they can shine, you'll see those numbers rise. So that's the first and foremost thing. Second thing is, when we brought in two coaches, we didn't bring in just two coaches. I need people to understand, if you read the titles of the coaches, you don't bring in two wide receiver coaches. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't bring in you don't bring in. You brought in. I'm gonna give you the exact titles that we gave them. Okay, the Ravens hired T. Martin to be the wide receivers coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they hired Keith Williams to be the pass game coordinator.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me. So I have no definitive proof on this. I didn't get a Ravens alert or a bad alert, but my submission is this. The Ravens have been the number one offense in the league the last 2 years. They've been the number one rushing team in the league the last 2 years. I think Greg Roman was given a mulligan, but they are going to strip. Okay.
I'm going to go to Shane.
No worries. They're going to strip back some of his control. And I think that they're going to incorporate. You don't bring in a person, the Williams guy. You don't bring him in to coordinate up. Everybody knows who coordinates their offense. The offense is coordinated through the offensive coordinator. So why would you specifically hire? Why would you specifically hire a passing game coordinator?
Right.
So you're about to tweak your offense. And now this part I do know to be fact. The Ravens didn't part ways with our receivers. Number one, because they're still young, right?
Yes.
Then number two, the new coaches have a plan for the new receivers. And that's reported on every Baltimore outlet. When speaking with Williams, who is the coordinator, the passing game coordinator is what he's listed as. When they were talking to him, he said, well, first off, I don't think Duvernay and Prochet were used to the best of their ability. He just said it.
I wouldn't.
I'm not going to disagree with him because I can't
disagree.
I've seen the tapes. I've seen the flashes of when we've given Duvernay some snaps. I've seen the flashes of what Duvernay can do. But maybe they see something. Now, let's just take this in perspective. The last wide receivers coach we had was David Culley.
Yeah.
He's been a wide receivers coach for a long time. He had the title of assistant head coach with us, but he was the wide receivers coach. Everywhere that he's been a wide receivers coach, do you know what he's never finished? His unit has never finished over third to last.
I did not know that.
He's been in David Culley has been in the bottom three in receivers as a group. Yeah, graded as the bottom three of receivers since this guy's been in the league.
And you know what? And to expound on that, I seen people making jokes about when they hired him in Houston because Deshaun wants out, and he said Deshaun wants out, and you guys go and hire a passing game coordinator / wide receivers coach who has, like you said, he was the last in Baltimore at the time he was there. And he's I think he was in Kansas City the year no wide receiver caught a touchdown pass.
Yep.
He was the coach. So, yeah, I mean, but before it started, you set these guys up for failure. True enough.
Yeah, he's a yes man. He's a yes man. But so that's the first thing we need to understand is that we've gotten rid of what I've always long suspected to be the problem, because we've had some decent talent at wide receiver. Like, why last year was not Dez Bryant incorporated? When Nick Boyle went down at the tight end position, why wasn't Dez Bryant brought in as a tight end? With his size, with his lack of speed, because he's lost some top end speed, that would have been the perfect fit for him, right? And he would have been a more prolific threat in the 20s.
Yeah. I wondered that. I sat and watched Baltimore game after game.
Yeah, it's a lot of scheme stuff that goes on in our passer. And I'm not even finna get onto the diatribe of how people have been hating on Lamar Jackson since the day he came out of Louisville. He only just threw for over 8,000 yards at Louisville, and he should have got the Heisman 2 years in a row because his numbers were better the year he lost the Heisman than they were the year he got the Heisman. But I digress. I digress. I'm not going to do that. We're going to talk about these. We're going to talk about these receivers. So what I think that the new passing coach, the new coaches should be given the ability to change some things. I think they should be given, I'm not saying a pass, but we should be giving them time. We should give them time and respect them in that position enough to see if it changes anything for the Ravens, because I really think when you have a number one, you get spoiled when you have a number one. Like when you look at the numbers, you're the number one offense and you're the number one rushing offense the last 2 years in the NFL. So you don't want to leave from that because you've won a lot of games. Like people keep forgetting Lamar has only lost 7 games in 4 years.
Yes, he has.
Like, let's just be clear about that.
Yeah.
I believe Peyton Manning went to the Super Bowl. I mean, he went to the playoffs 4 years straight and didn't win. It was 4 years.
And I always make the argument, Kurtson, that young quarterbacks don't win titles like that. It is an anomaly.
Young teams do. When you have, let's just be clear. Patrick Mahomes, Roethlisberger was one of the first young quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl.
Russell Wilson.
But whoa. Let's go back. And you know I hate Steelers with a passion.
Yeah.
Let's look at what was surrounding. Let's look at what surrounded Roethlisberger.
Oh, he had a semi version of the steel curtain.
Well, let's talk on offense. Let's just talk, because we're talking about the quarterback position. So let's just talk on offense. I'm not even going to speak to the defense. And when we get to Seattle, I'm not even going to speak to
Legion of Boom. Yeah,
exactly. I'm not going to speak to none of the defense. We're just going to talk about how you surrounded this young quarterback with weapons.
Yes, they did.
And wisdom. You brought in Jerome Bettis, right? You had Jerome Bettis, who is a seasoned veteran, who knows how to groom a quarterback, and you could lean on that on that running game. And let's just be real. To me, the Steelers haven't been really relevant since they got rid of their running game. They haven't been able to run the ball in like 2 or 3 years, and that's why they having the troubles that they have, because they really have no significant run game. But that's a different story for a different day. Who are his receivers? Hines Ward, Santonio Holmes,
Randall L.
He had another one over there too.
He had Plaxico his first year too.
Yes, Plaxico Burress, right? So look at what you're surrounding. Look at the weapons that you surrounded him with. Don't forget Hines Ward. Ward. Please don't forget him, because he's a savvy veteran.
Yeah, Heath Miller, Willie Parker.
Thank you. You surrounded this young man with talent. Let's move over to Seattle. Russ won at a young age. Is that Marshawn Lynch back there? Yeah, it is. Was that Justin Forsett over there? It was. Everybody anywhere that tells you about Justin Forsett, he is a quarterback rooms. Him and Mark Ingram. He was Mark Ingram before Mark Ingram was Mark Ingram. He is a running back room gym. He's a coach on the field. He keeps the momentum. He keeps the momentum right. He keeps the attitudes in there right, and he reins them in, right? Yeah. Everybody knows that our running back room was everybody said that we love Mark Ingram, and when we parted with him, we gave him a full gun salute as a Raven, straight up, and with no qualms about it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So you surrounded these young people with successful offenses, but you surrounded them around with veterans and enough talent to overcome any weaknesses in their game.
Yeah.
Follow me? So here's the thing. If you want to see Lamar be as prolific as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, we don't throw like they do. We talk about teams that throw 40 to 50 times a game like it ain't nothing. That's what they do. So why shouldn't their numbers be like that? Let's not forget. Least we forget the 30 for 30 season by Jameis Winston. Least we forget that Jameis Winston sat in Tampa and threw 30 touchdowns over 5,000 yards, but he also threw 30 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
And we pissed that away like if it was nothing. But let's just be real. Had you brought in a real quarterback coach for Jameis Winston and he could get those interceptions down to even half, Jameis Winston probably owns the passing record right now.
Right.
Because a lot of those interceptions came in the 20, in the end zones, on scoring drives.
Yeah, just 10 less interceptions, and they're in the playoffs. They went 7-9. He throw 10 less, you win 2 more games, you're in the playoffs. It's really simple.
But I just think that a lot of times we dogpile onto Lamar in this situation. But one thing that I've always been like, it's a known fact that the Ravens have not always. We've never had a home run hit at wide receiver. Never. The closest we've ever come to a home run hit was Travis Taylor, but he got his clavicle clapped like 8 games in. I remember the Super Bowl season. He got his clavicle clapped. So I mean, Travis Taylor was probably the most productive up until injury that we've had, but we've never missed on a tight end. You know what I mean? Like almost never have we missed on a tight end. And that's why I was telling the man when they was like, why did he trade? Why did the Jaguars trade? Why did they trade for that bum at the Jaguars? And I'm like, look, bro, that tight end that they traded for, first off, it's a win-win situation. We trade for him. If he don't make the team, we don't owe him nothing. The second part is he has the particulars. Look at his build, look at his body mass, look at his intangible.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore has never had a problem picking tight ends, baby. Never.
Yeah, I can't remember a time where you were without, because even when you had guys go down, you had guys to come in and to replace.
Bro, people forget Wilcox. Matter of fact, who was the best tight end in the league last year?
Oh, Mark Andrews.
No, not last year.
Oh, last year. Oh, you don't know.
Who's the best tight end in the league?
Oh, best tight end in the league. Oh, well, I'm biased. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm biased. I think Travis Kelce was.
Yeah, that's a negative ghostwriter.
What did he catch for? I think he broke a record.
Waller.
Now I do like Waller.
I think Waller, the most dominant tight end in the league last year. And
Kyle Pitts is getting compared to Darren Waller.
Who was throwing to Darren Waller?
Oh, Carr.
Who was throwing to Kelce? Who you said? You said Kelce, right?
Yeah, Mahomes.
Kelce. Oh, my homeboys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
Where did Darren Waller come from? Who drafted him?
Oh, Oakland didn't draft him. I forgot about that.
Baltimore Ravens drafted him.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We only let him go because he couldn't pass the drug test. He kept failing drug tests. He failed multiple drug tests in Baltimore, and eventually we had to move on. And we went with Dennis Pitta and Wilcox. And Dennis Pitta, had he not cracked his hip.
Right.
Dennis got us a Super Bowl. And then the year after, he cracked his hip. If he don't crack his hip, Dennis Pitta probably be looking like Tony Gonzalez right now. Like Dennis Pitta was, Terrell Suggs used to call him the American Express. He wherever you want to be. He wherever you want to be, he there. So, I mean, Baltimore has never had an issue picking tight ends in free agency or in the draft. Even our free agents, we had Ben Coates. We had Shannon Sharp, Super Bowl Shannon Sharp. We brought in Todd Heap. We have Andrews now. We picked Hayden Hurst. And I still think that Hayden Hurst is a steal for anyone who can put them in his offense. Like I said, we talked off screen about why he actually left Baltimore. And a lot of people don't know, but it's public record now. He tried to commit suicide twice when he was in Baltimore. In Baltimore, Ozzie Newsome and that team, every player in the league will tell you how that organization in Baltimore is run. The castle is run different in all of the organizations, and that's why it's good for us to recruit. When we recruit, people want to come because they want to play for the Ravens. Even people who used to play for the Ravens, very rarely do you have any of them say anything bad about the Raven organization and how they. I don't
think I've ever heard anything bad about the Ravens organization from former players.
You don't hear it. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Raven. I'm saying that because that's real. Listen to the free agents when they leave. Talk to TJ Hushmanzada was on Gary Owens' podcast the other day. And he talked about how he can't stand Pete Carroll because of some stuff that Pete Carroll did when he was with Seattle, when he left Cincinnati and went to Seattle. And Pete Carroll traded him away on a Tuesday, which was unheard of. And his whole life got jumbled because he had to be in Baltimore on Wednesday, right? Because Pete Carroll was being a butthole, whatever. But TJ Hushmanzada said, man, Baltimore is a class. He says, I know we don't like him because they was in a different division, but I played for him because he said in the 1 year, he said, had I played my whole year in Baltimore, I promise you my outlook on the way people run teams would be totally different because this is the way they run. They run it like the guy, Bashotti, runs the team like a Fortune 500 company. And so they treat people with respect. And that's, look at all of the people we put in the Ring of Honor. We don't wait to put them in. We make sure we acknowledge the ones who, in our front office, when you look at our player personnel, when you look at the people who are on our staff, most of them are ex-players. Like it's a recyclable, like we recycle the people who give blood, sweat, and tears. Long story short, do not jump off the roof yet. Do not bandage up the bastions.
So
because I don't think he's the number one pick. I'm 99.9% sure that we did not bring him in to be the number one receiver. I think we brought him in because the passing game coordinator is Sammy Watkins' personal coach in the offseason. That's another thing I did. Yeah. So in the offseason, Sammy Watkins has a long extended history with the guy who we brought in to be the passing coordinator. So
and I knew it's not the number one wide receiver, of course. I just didn't think that was enough. I don't mind the addition, but I don't think that it was enough.
Think of it like this. Sometimes you add a person to the room, not because of what they can do, not only because of what they can do on the field, but what they can do in that meeting room, what they can do in that coaching room, in that receivers room. Like I've always said that when we lost Terrell Suggs, I felt like we lost him too early. There was no clear perceived leader when Terrell left.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, when Sam Adams and Siragusa left, well, this was Ray Lewis' team for a long time. And Ray Lewis had 17 years at the helm. But when Ray Lewis left, everybody knew it was Suggs and Reed. And then when Reed left, everybody knew it was Suggs. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a chain of command there. When Suggs got there, he indoctrinated Mosley. And Mosley took command of that team. But then when we didn't trade him away. When he left in free agency for that bag, which I ain't mad at, when he went to New York and took that bag, who's the leader?
Well, I know one guy who has assumed a leadership role. He's one of my favorite players, period. He's a former Jaguar, the big fella. He was the mayor of Saxonville.
He is. And last year, did you see how that defense played since Mr. Saxonville was there? Yeah.
Look here. Now, I don't take anything away from Lamar. Don't take away anything from the offense against Tennessee. But the game the defense played against Tennessee was a two-piece and a biscuit masterpiece. Like, it punched Tennessee in the mouth.
Wink Martindale called a beautiful game against Tennessee defensively that made it was really a two-man weave between Calais Campbell and Matt Judon. You couldn't stop. Like if you close to stop Campbell, Judon was springing free on the outside. And then when you committed that blocker, the extra blocker to stop Judon on the outside, Campbell was coming in there raising all kind of hell, putting that big hand up. He had two batted passes in that. And that people think, oh, it's just a batted pass, but now you're in the quarterback's head. Now I gotta get this ball up extra high. Like I don't know if anybody noticed, but after Calais slapped that first ball and put it back in Tannehill's mouth, Tannehill started throwing higher balls because some of those incompletions came because Tannehill was basically trying to get the velocity to get it up over the arms of Calais. And if anybody's ever seen him in person, then you know Calais ain't small. I'm big. And Calais makes me look small. He makes me look like an average human being. And usually if you put me in a room with any other guys, no matter what, I'm usually probably one of the biggest guys in there. But if I've stood next to Calais a couple of times, and I can tell you I look like a midget. Only other time I've been I felt small is your old tight end, Marcellus
Mercedes
Lewis. Thank you.
Yeah, I volunteered at one of his camps and took my little brother because my little brother played tight end. So I was like, we're going to the Mercedes Lewis camp. And we get there and I signed up as a volunteer. And he comes walking off the field at Robert E. Lee. And I'm like 6'6", 280 and doesn't look like it's an ounce of fat on him. I was amazed, man. That's a big dude.
I got some treachery going on. Hold on one second. Are you?
I got you.
I think I picked my daughter up for tutoring. And I think she's in here taking pictures of my office so she can send it back to her mom. But because I've got my Pops collection is in my office. Most people know. But
hey, this your other Baltimore people. He say fire Greg Roman.
Yeah, we're not gonna fire him yet. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, so here's the thing. I bleed purple. I was born 2014. Listen, I lived the majority of my life at 2014 West Franklin Street. That is my grandmother's house. It is exactly 3.9 miles away from Russell Street. Do you understand what I'm saying? From the stadium. We literally, when I say we don't need to fire him yet because he is productive. I mean, you don't have the number one offense in the league for nothing. You don't have the number one offense, and then the number one rushing. So all you really need to do is tweak it. We're not saying that it's not good because it's won a lot of games for us. We're just saying that the whole world knows what we're going to do when we do it, and we have no wrinkles. And we need that passing coordinator to add those wrinkles. And we need the personnel to come in there and execute those wrinkles.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with people on whether or not Lamar can throw because
I'm so sick of that, Brick, dude.
I'm so sick of it. This is a family show. I'm sorry, but I get in my feelings when we're talking about Lamar. I'm sorry. I
understand.
Anybody who caught that half slip of a curse word, but here's what I'm saying. You cannot be so dismissive with Lamar Jackson when people like Rosen, when people like Johnny Manziel, when people like there are other quarterbacks in this league. Derek Carr, Rosen, Carr. Let me just name some off here. Rosen, Carr, Carson Wentz. All of these abject quarterbacks.
Goff. Jared Goff. Matthew Stafford.
I was going to give Matthew Stafford a pass.
We know here. You don't get one here. You don't get one on this show.
When I keep it a buck with y'all, like, listen, you really, outside of your hate, you're not going to find 5 quarterbacks in the league currently right now playing at a higher level than Lamar Jackson. And his MVP season, let's just be clear. The last time I checked, was Peyton Manning hurt when Lamar Jackson won the MVP? Was Tom Brady hurt when Lamar won the MVP? Was Aaron Rodgers hurt when he won the MVP? Oh, okay. Was Josh Allen hurt when he won the MVP? Okay. Who else we got? Was Ben Roethlisberger? Ben Roethlisberger was hurt.
He was hurt.
We'll give Ben a pass. So Ben was hurt. But name the rest of the quarterbacks that we're talking about in this league. Were they hurt when this man won the MVP? Was Goff hurt? Was Wentz hurt? Like, come on, man. Like, let's just be clear. Right. They are. What do you say?
Roman designs plays and have wide receivers on the same spot of the field.
Yeah, and that is true. And that's the reason why we brought in the passing game coordinator. There's a passing
T. Martin.
Now. Let these people do their job. Like you brought in 2 wide receiver coaches. One is a passing game coordinator. One's a wide receiver coach. Let's give these young black men a chance to do their job. I'm just gonna say it like it is. Let's give these young black men a chance to do their job. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe Sammy Watkins was brought in because of his knowledge of what the passing game coordinator does, because that is his off-season trainer for the last 7 years. Yes. For
Go back to the other building.
For what?
I wanted to
that's generally what we do. So I always thank you for that. I caught that. Yeah. But I think that normally we are quick to judge. I'm just gonna say it. We judge African American quarterbacks at a different standard than we do other quarterbacks. And they have to basically go out there and do magic tricks and they have to do the Houdini and the David Blaine show before we even think that they're credible. And then even then we try to find nicks or holes or chinks in their armor. But people like Sam Darnold and what's the boy in New York? They're allowed to Daniel Jones.
Oh, Daniel Jones. What's the hype with Daniel Jones? Golly.
Bro, these kids are number one. Like we ain't talking about kids that didn't go top 5. We talking about kids that went top 3. You know what I'm saying? We talking about young men who went top 3 and have not produced to the pressure. They haven't produced to the pressure that has been placed on them. And we don't hold them to this. We're not holding them to the same accountability that we're holding Lamar Jackson to.
Yeah. I like what Amp said. He said, I have more of a problem with Greg's situational play calling, though.
Yeah, and that's why, and I agree with you. And that's the reason why we have to allow the new hires to do what they were hired to do. Because I don't think they were hired because the Ravens didn't have a problem with his situational calling. I think they were hired. You don't hire 2 coaches at one position. You don't have that. You don't. He says, give another. You don't hire 2 coaches at one position unless you've seen that problem as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Amp. He said, give another QB the same wide receiver group Lamar has, and the team going 7-9.
Yeah, no. They going 5 and they going.
I was about to say it's gonna be worse than that.
Worse than that because
it's gonna be worse than that.
We beat a lot of teams up on the ground last year. Like when I say beat, I mean we beat a lot.
Grinded Pittsburgh into the dust on
one game. We had 359 yards rushing.
Yes.
So you take Lamar out of that equation, that doesn't happen.
No.
So now you're getting flooded. Like what did they do? Okay, so do you remember the Cleveland game where Lamar had to go take the cramps?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that game, the minute I don't know if you watch, like I know you watch football like this, but I will submit to anybody. It's on YouTube. They show it on NFL Network all the time. Go back and watch that game. It's one of the games of the year. Go back and watch that game. Look at their pressure packages and their blitz packages for Cleveland when Lamar was in the game. And the minute they found out that Lamar wasn't in the game, they were sending the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about if any other quarterback would have had that team.
Yeah.
Like let's just be clear. And I'm going to go back to this again. When Lamar won the MVP, he threw for more touchdowns than any other quarterback in this league. He threw for more touchdowns, not run.
Yes, he did.
Not run. He
led the league in passing.
He led the league in passing touchdowns, and he's led the NFL in the most perfect games in one season.
Yes, 158.3. You can't get no higher than that.
He did it 3 times that year.
Yes, he did.
3 times against the Rams, where he threw over 40 passes against the Rams. So don't tell me the young man can't throw. Please don't do that.
Right. I hope Harbs knows what he's doing, because if we don't get to AFC Championship, he and Roman might be gone. You think Harbs might be gone?
Yeah, I don't think you're getting rid of Harbs. I think you're getting rid of you'll get rid
Roman,
of Roman.
definitely. For
Roman
sure.
might go listen, Roman might be gone at the halfway mark. You don't bring a person in and call them the wide receiver, the passing game coordinator, unless he's in waiting. So I believe that if we're not getting what we're expecting, he might be gone at the halfway mark. Like Roman we might pull a Cam Cameron on Roman. You remember we got rid of Cam Cameron our Super Bowl year 12 and put in my guy Caldwell.
Yeah,
we fired Cam Cameron in the middle of the season. So I really believe that if they go in a draft and do what I suspect that they will do, and we bring in one of those June 1 cuts that I really quietly suspect. Did we talk about the June 1 cuts? I know we talked about it off camera, but if we bring in a June 1 cut, I really believe Greg Roman could be gone at the halfway mark if he's not on top of his situation. Just being honest, because you got pieces in place to take over quickly. So like I said, I just think that
You say, think about it. Hobbs was almost gone. Lamar rookie year. Hobbs is Ozzie guy, not EDC guy.
let's just be clear. EDC wanted to bring you the guy that's in the booth right now. Not the guy, Jason Garrett. EDC wanted Jason Garrett here years ago. Before we got Harbs, Jason Garrett was the guy. He turned us down. I'm not a revisionist. I'm not in revisionist history, but when I tell you I don't like the Ravens, I love them, I bleed purple. We had a contract offer extended to Jason Garrett for major money when we fired Brian Billick. He turned us down. That was an EDC move. Let's not get that clear. EDC said the analytics said that we should extend Garrett. Because when Ozzie stepped down and EDC went up, right? People thought Hobbs was getting fired then. Let's just be clear about that. But I don't know if y'all really understand the Baltimore Ravens and the way it's structured, but Scotty runs more than people think he does. You
said that was Ozzie that wanted Garrett.
Nah, I'm gonna tag you. I'll tag you in some articles and posts. I won't go back and forth, but I'll tag you in some articles and posts. They wanted Garrett based on the analytics, and everybody knows that's EDC's trademark. His whole thing about setting the draft board, because it's not like people think Eric DeCosta is in control now, and he's calling all of the shots. He's getting Eric's in control now, and he's responsible for the shots. But it's always been an auction, where they talk about what's in the room. I don't know if y'all go back and watch Path to the Draft and stuff like that. When you talk to Ozzie in the War Room, we watch that kind of stuff. I watch it. It's not boring to me. I watch the War Room stuff, and you hear these conversations about. Matter of fact, I'll give you a gem, and if I'm going to go back and look for the video tonight, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook post, and I'll tag you in it, Brandon, so you can tag, what's his name, Anthony?
Oh, Anthony? Yeah.
I'm going to get it so you can tag Anthony. The coin flip is the reason why we didn't get it was a coin flip on why we didn't get Aquan Bolden in the draft.
Wow.
We were going to draft Aquan Bolden. And when we brought him as a free agent, Ozzie Newsome alluded to that, because they really don't talk about the draft boards and who we had over this or whatever until way after the fact. But Ozzie Newsome even said, listen, this is the one mistake that I made that I didn't put my foot down on. Who would he put his foot down on to? So we're just gonna do some. These are the words of Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome said, "This was the one mistake that I made that I did not put my foot down on in that draft. So we're gonna right that mistake now. We're signing Aquan Bolden to this contract." And that's when they did the press conference for Aquan Bolden and his family to join the Ravens that year, right? So let me ask you this question: if you're in a room, who are you putting your foot down to? Because the coaches don't really matter; they can't override you, but you have an assistant general manager there, and he deals solely in analytics. So Ozzie has this thing about finding football players. He don't care what the draft sheets say. He don't care what the prognosticators say. He don't care what the report says. He's going to go to your combine. He's going to do the interview, and he wants a football player. He wants a football player. There is a sign on the top of, if you've ever been in the Radium Stadiums, if you ever go back then, it was PSNI Net Stadium, right? PSI Net Stadium. That's what it used to be called first before it became M&T Bank, right? This has been around since then. We got the Ravens back in 96. In 1998, in that locker room, there was placed a placard across the board. There's a placard placed across the board of the locker room. And do you know what it says? Building a bully. That's what it says. It says building a bully. It doesn't say Ravens locker room. It doesn't say enter here to the Ravens locker room. It says building a bully. And that's why that Ravens defense is the way it's been for years and years.
Well, and then building a bully, and I understand that sentiment. Like analytics, it's been okay, but analytics is not the end all be all to any sport, man. Because it's the Jimmies and the Joes, man. That analytics sheet is the Jimmies and the Joes, man. It's not the X's and O's. I've been telling people that forever. I don't care who's on the field. I don't care who's coaching, but who's on the field, who's playing the games.
I tell you what, show me an X and an O that ever neutralized Lawrence Taylor.
Where's the X and O that's neutralized Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens?
You can't neutralize these people because they got they got something in them that nobody else wants. I can tell you, I watched one of the greatest minds in football do a football interview. I watched Bill Belichick and Tom Brady sit in an office and talk about ER20.
Yeah, I love that clip.
That man said, listen, they talking all this good stuff on offense. Yeah, you got to make sure that this route digs under here. And then the first thing Bill Belichick says out his mouth, hey, before you release that ball, find 20.
Hey, Brady's sitting there like a little kid at Christmas. He's like, look at him. Let those wide receivers run by him. He's not worried at all.
Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. But I hate that. I hate that because we just witnessed analytics and the X's and O's get beat out by Jimmys and Joes in the Super Bowl. Jimmys and Joes put Patrick Mahomes in the dirt.
Man, look.
Ain't no analytics put Patrick Mahomes in the dirt.
I will say I turned it off at halftime, and then I actually had to go back and watch it again. I had to go back and watch the whole thing again. Patrick Mahomes threw a pass that was unreal.
Sideways going down the ground.
He was stretched out like Superman, and he slung that spiral.
Horizontal. Yeah.
That was a sick pass.
They say that's probably the greatest incomplete pass in NFL history.
Listen, the ability to do that, I'm just gonna tell you right now. Like people keep saying some stuff you can't do by accident. Like you just don't.
That's not luck.
Yeah, that's not luck. Like some things that happen is just a fluke it's a fluke, but that's not luck. Like when Deion Sanders used to bait people to the corner of the field so that the people would throw to him, and Ed Reed used to do the same thing. You ever heard when Bill Belichick talk about that wheel route that he was trying to hit Reggie Wayne, or it was the Colts game, and Bill Belichick said to this day, I've never seen a play in football like this. He said Ed Reed ran the post as if he was going to play center field. He immediately swiveled his head, made a direct beeline to the ball without hesitating, without stuff. And he says the only way you do that is if you studied the film and you knew it was coming. Yeah. And that's what they used to do. They used to study the film and see what was coming. And I just think that this is a different Baltimore era for me. Right now, I'm really just I'm becoming like every other mortal football fan in the world. And I'm just gonna say this, being very as arrogantly as I can tell you this, I'm gonna tell you this about Baltimore football. In the defensive heyday, before the rule changes, before any of that, let me tell you something. I'm one of those people who used to watch the 6-3 games between the 6-3 games between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And I'm not finna miss a down of it. Like I'm not turning. It's not boring. It's not none of that. If a game is 6-3 right now, people really didn't turn it or trying to find something else to watch. But my point is, when that defense existed, when that bully in Baltimore, when the Baltimore Bullies was existing, if we was up by 10 in the fourth quarter, I could really go make me some lunch, or I could go do something else because this game is over with. There's no need me to continue to watch it. I catch the highlights later because this is over with. And for
I love a defensive masterpiece. Not me to cut you off, but I love a defensive masterpiece. I don't understand people who don't like. I understand that people love offense. You want to see touchdowns, but a defensive masterpiece is my favorite. One of my favorite Jaguar games. I don't know if you remember it. 2018, we were on a losing streak, And, we weren't playing well. I mean, we were hit with injury after injury after injury. We were thumping our chest coming off an AFC Championship appearance. And the Colts come rolling into town. They had scored 35.5 points for 8 or 9 straight games. Andrew Luck was an MVP candidate. They were headed to the playoffs. I mean, they had it all working. But what people might not have known, and I didn't know at the time, the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since like 2012. They don't win in Jacksonville. They just don't. So they came here, and I'm thinking they about to grind us in the dust. We beat them 6-0. And I've watched that game 10 times.
I think
10 times I've watched that game.
Listen, I think we were at that game. I'm almost certain we was at that game.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain we was at that game. Because
Jalen made the tackle at the end, and the time ran out, and it was over. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Your boy Miles Jack had a play in that game, too.
Him and Telvin, because, your boy was chirping all game. What's the tight end?
He was at that game. Yes.
What's the tight end that's in Steel with the Steelers now? Ebron.
So, Eric Ebron. Yes.
So Ebron, in the first meeting, we went to the Colts, and Jalen played the worst game of his career. He had a terrible game. Ebron had 3 touchdowns that game, and he was chirping all game. He was talking cash noise. So when they came to Jacksonville, Gibson, Jalen, Boye, Jack, and Telvin, every time Ebron touched the ball, somebody touched him, and they
light him up. Yeah.
And if you can go back, it's on YouTube. The whole game is on YouTube. I watched a bunch of times. It's one play where they hit him, and Tashawn get up in his face, and he called him a band. Everybody, a lot of people, if you don't know what a band is, look up. I'll explain it some kind of way. I can't say it on these airwaves.
Yeah.
But just know, something you call a black man, he probably gonna fight you if you call him that. You call him that, y'all scrapping. They called him a band. I say, God dang! And every time he touched the ball, they cracked his head.
Man, I remember that game because I was saying that he need to go to JSO and file a report after this game is over because they was harassing him in that game
every single time he touched the ball.
Because it was a couple of dirty hits in that game too, but I wasn't even mad at him. Jacksonville was
that was get back. We was embarrassed.
Testy about that. Yeah, y'all was a little testy about that. Y'all was in y'all feelings with that game right there. Because I remember it was one play clearly after the whistle, Ebron got hit on a comeback, and I was like, "Oh, they ain't gonna throw the flag for that? Oh, he ejected that? Nope." So maybe refs got the memo of that game, but yeah, I don't think it's time for you to. I'm gonna say like this: you ain't got to come off the ledge yet, but just step back away from the edge a little bit. It's getting a little windy. Just step back away from the edge because I don't want you to fall.
Gotcha.
And then you don't need to jump yet. Now I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. If we don't come away either by June 1 cuts or because I think June 1 cuts are going to be relevant, and I'm going to keep saying that to anybody. I'm going to give me a shirt to say June 1 cuts. If we don't come away with June 1 cuts or significant help out the draft that helps us immediately, I'm going to get a little upset myself, right? But I can't really buck the trend that our the most productive wide receivers and tight ends, well, not tight ends, but most productive wide receivers or pass catchers that we've gotten out of June 1 cuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp, Derek Mason, Steve Smith.
Yeah.
We picked up one of the most important wide receivers in our entire history, and that was Jacoby Jones. People, to me, to this day, he is still, to me, Jacoby Jones is the MVP of the Super Bowl. Not Joseph Stephen Flacco. It is Jacoby Jones. To me, that should have been his Corvette, and that should be his MVP trophy because without him, it doesn't happen. What's the other one? Quadre Ishmael.
Rocket
Ishmael. And matter of fact, I know earlier when we was talking offline, I said that Travis Taylor was the best receiver that we've ever drafted. I'm lying. I lied. I told a lie. Jermaine Lewis. Apologize, Jermaine, for being disrespectful. Jermaine Lewis.
Jermaine was explosive.
Best wide receiver we ever drafted. Jermaine Lewis was the best wide receiver that we ever, because he did kickoff returns, punt returns, and he caught him a couple of touchdowns. He ran for a kickoff. He ran for a touchdown on a return in the Super Bowl, and he caught him one in the Super Bowl. So I'm not taking nothing away from Jermaine Lewis. I got to give him his props. Jermaine Lewis probably the best one. Jermaine Lewis probably the best one we drafted. We drafted him. I take that back.
Well, man, I appreciate you. I know I feel a little better, man.
I hope you do, man. Like I said, I'm looking for some football, man.
You know what?
Feels at one.
This is wishful thinking. This is just wishful thinking. And I don't think it's a Baltimore move, so I don't expect Baltimore to make it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did because it is a little splashy. And I'm pretty sure they've inquired about him, both of them, Julio Jones and Odell Beckham Jr.
We inquired about Julio Jones last year. That's a no-go for us. Here's the thing, and I told my guy this. I'm not mad that we didn't get any of these first wave of receivers, to be honest with you, because I don't think Baltimore, for what the offense that we run, unless we tweak it, which I think we will, if we're not tweaking that offense, then why are we paying $8 million per? Why are we paying more than $8 million per year for a wide receiver? And that's just that makes sense to me. If you're saying that you're going to roll up and smash the ball in people's mouth, then don't spend that money on don't spend $8 million plus or more on a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? And I heard that we offered Juju $9 million. He took the $8 million from the Steelers. I'm glad he took that money and didn't come to Baltimore. I didn't want him in Baltimore. Originally I did, but I don't. I don't want Baltimore has a mode, and Juju, we need a dog. Like we need somebody that's gonna go in there and say, I'm number one. We need somebody with an attitude and the production of like a Terrell Owens. I'm number one. That's who I am. You can't stop me. All you gotta do is give me 6 inches of daylight, and it's a wrap for you. Like you know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because Ryan Clark just pretty much proved that the exact guy you just described, that Juju most likely is not that guy.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not. But now here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm still watching. This is what I got in my peripherals right now. Antonio Brown is still in play for us, but I really think he's positioning us to get him more money in Tampa. That's what I really believe in my heart of hearts. But stranger things have happened. Maybe he says, because him and Lamar have worked out in the offseason as well. So maybe he says, maybe I go there and do that. Because I think he has that attitude of, I'm number one. Don't play with me, right?
Yes.
And I think he was on good behavior when he was in Tampa because he just needed another check. But I think he could come to Baltimore. He's playing with his cousin. I think he could really do some things.
I think so too. I think that'll be a good pickup because he's facing his football mortality. I mean, it's your football life. I mean, it was on life support. And now you got a little better. You're at the hospital now. You're recovering. You're doing well. Now you got to continue to be a good citizen if you want to continue to draw a check from NFL teams. So he's gonna, if he does come, I don't mind him there because he's not going to blow it up. He's going to be on his best behavior.
When June 1 cuts happen, we'll talk again. We'll have this conversation again after June 1 when those cuts happen because the draft would have already happened, and then we'll start talking about where we at with that. But I think.
We'll do a little bit of State of the Union we'll do a little bit of Jacksonville. We'll do some Baltimore. We'll do a State of the Union around that time.
Say less. And then don't forget, I got the perfect space for you over here. We got the equipment, so you're always
okay. I appreciate that, man.
What you're doing, and I appreciate the purple colors. Lamar says thank you.
Yeah,
he says thank you, and go Baltimore, man. Go Ravens.
Yes, sir, man.
I'm gonna say a little go Jags for you too, just to be mindful and respect. Got manners.
Man, but I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, Mr. Kurtson he coming up. He gonna have a podcast coming up. I'm gonna make sure I share his stuff. I'm gonna go over there. We're gonna talk that noise. We're gonna bring more content to you.
You get over. You got an open invitation. Yeah. You don't even gotta ask. You can just show up. We're gonna put a mic on your head. We putting headphones on you and a mic. We ain't even gonna rap like that.
For sure.
Lombardi. If I can get a third Lombardi, I'll be okay. I need Lamar Demetrius to get me one. I need him to get me one. So shut up all them haters.
Hey, I just need Sunshine to be competent.
Yes, sir.
Be competent. That's all.
But now I will say this. When I think it's my fault, and I'm gonna do some prayer, and I'm gonna let you go on this one. I'm gonna do some prayer, and I'm gonna do some real prayer and humbling, because I think I'm the reason that it's my fault that Baltimore hasn't won a ring right now. That we haven't won another one yet. Because when Lamar Demetrius Jackson win a ring, God know I'm gonna act a plum fool. Listen, this is people I got to talk to.
That's why Jacksonville, the Trevor Urban Meyer era, probably won't yield Lombardi, because if it does,
say it's gonna be some unattainable conversation.
What's Trevor's number? Whatever Trevor's number is going to be, if he's going to be 16, you better hope he chooses a low number, because whatever Trevor's jersey number is, if he brings a championship to Duval County, I am going live those straight days. So if he get the 16 jersey, 16 straight days, I will be on live, and it will be all Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville, winning the chip, shades on, eating chips, straight chilling, talking my noise. I'm talking about every day, and I'm gonna do it in the street too.
I'm telling you, man, it's a plum. Listen, I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna humble myself, because I'm telling you, when I'm not gonna say when Lamar win that title, man. Listen, man, you remember that scene from Head of State when Bernie Mac was walking through the train station, slapping people? Yeah, that's gonna be me. That's that, man. I swear that's gonna be me, man. That's why it's not meant for me. I'm telling you, it's not meant for him to win one. And I'm going to pray about that, so that God humble me in my heart, so that I don't do that. I swear. And if I can get him to believe that I'm going to do that, I think he'll go ahead and let that boy break over the top, because I'm going to be uncontrollable.
I'm the reason we didn't go in 2017, because, man, if we had got there in 2017 to beat the Eagles, which I believe we would have beat the Eagles, it would have been ugly.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Be easy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, y'all remember, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, people. I got more content coming up the rest of this week. I'm going to be going live again, so tune in. I appreciate y'all, but I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.